Would you say earlier? We're not trying to get to the bottom of it. We're trying to explore the depths of what skateboarding is as an art form.
Skateboarding is just the stuff, man. Like challenging that thing in you that is terrified, but knows with absolute certainty that the path towards rolling away is achievable.
Yo,
Yo, how you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, bro.
All right, let me full screen this. And we're on for episode 1. This is exciting, bro.
Episode one, here we come.
We should tell everybody what is going on here.
Yeah, and who you are.
Okay, I'm Rick. I am uh uh friend
He's
of
the man.
Andy's. How do I
Ah,
mean, I don't
you're,
my
yeah.
qualifications for being here are questionable,
So
but I
this is
am here.
so this is Rick Goldman, everybody. He's one of my closest friends, and we have a lot of these long form conversations over the phone, and it's just really important to me that we start bringing this stuff to the world. And I have a mission right now, and I think that there's nobody better than Rick to get through this mission.
And the mission is to finish crazy wisdom,
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
right? You spent 2.5 years making crazy wisdom
Yeah, it was the end of the inaugural Olympics, and I wanted the project to be done before the next Olympics, which is odd that it was a 3 year span because the first Olympics was delayed a year. It's like the first ever delayed Olympics.
from COVID.
But for it to be done and out for the Paris Olympics, it had to be done in 2.5 years.
That was perfect timing. You did it.
Yeah, we made it there, dude.
And in those 2.5 years, you designed two skateboards.
Yeah.
You started the most significant relationship in your life.
Yeah.
You you had your first art show.
Yeah.
You did a bunch of NBDs and
Arguably.
and well, some of them for sure were or NBD on video at least. Uh and and you produced a 12 and a half minute street video, and you engaged in multiple experiments in relationship to that video.
Yeah. And then just to add on to that list, the wheels and the grip tape. And the grip tape came as an expression of the board and people not immediately grasping the concepts behind that, which is like totally understandable, which is why I made the grip tape.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's crazy because the last trick, I have the wheels, Vajra board, and grip tape. And that,
um
and that was like the marker of like, yes.
yeah, everything to current.
Yeah.
So this podcast or this video or this series of videos slash podcast, we are going to move through episode by episode conversations between you and I, where we address what was done on a given board in chronological order. So we're going to flesh out all of the life, the experience of life, and the creative process, and just all the crap that's associated. We're going to flesh all of that out. And in the end, you're going to release the raw footage in chronological order. And that will be the end of the project called Crazy Wisdom. How does that sound to actually just let that project go and put your whole head, mind, heart all into a new project?
Oh man, it feels good. I also feel like it won't be the end of Crazy Wisdom, but it might be the end of this project. You know, like maybe these boards move on to other shows and whatnot. But I think what we're really trying to establish, even at the core below that, is like, what is the art of skateboarding? We all inherently understand it, but we're trying to, would you say earlier? We're not trying to get to the bottom of it. We're trying to explore the depths of what skateboarding is as an art form. And this whole thing stems from the mentality and the questioning of what form of the art do skaters get to walk away with at the end of the day? Like, the video is the videographer's work, the photos are the photographer's work. What does the skater have to show for it? And I think the obvious answer is the boards. But is that art? Obviously. But how?
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
Well, and I think a lot of what goes in, in recent years with YouTube and, a lot of skaters having a lot more footage of them skating Instagram than ever before, right? In the past, you'd have a full length video with several minutes of a given skater. They get some kind of payment from the board company or the shoe company or whoever's video it is. And they get access to more publicity, more potential sponsorships, more potential notoriety and opportunities through the video. But that was
If the video gets released.
right.
Like a
Right.
lot of the time, like the filmers will film it and then the skater never even sees the footage. And then they don't know if it's ever going to come out. And sometimes the trick that you didn't like gets put in the video and the trick that you like didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, like, how do we get the skater the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And what is the skaters thing? What is what is theirs?
Yeah, what is theirs?
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. Okay. So creative process, the boards are theirs for sure. So the first trick that you did was on a board that I saw before you skated it.
Yeah.
Let's see that board.
Dude, unfortunately, it's one of two boards I'm not in possession of at this moment.
So you did all that work, and the thing that's supposed to be yours, the board, is not in your possession. Where did that board go?
I I gave it to DeVille, the filmer. I was so fresh in this idea. I just I don't even know if I had thought of it yet, and I don't even remember giving it to him. But it was just one day I was looking for it and it wasn't there, and he ended up trading it with a collector overseas, and his name's Mark, and Mark has it, and was like he sent photos of it over so I could do the Instagram post
Uh,
and all that. But I'm yet to get it. But it's not like he's holding it captive. We just got to make a little trade, and then it's there. I'm just super lazy when it comes to the mailing stuff.
if you want, I can give you the experimental, the false finish of the Vajra, and you could trade him for it.
Oh my god, dude, that would do it.
Okay.
But that's yours.
We can talk about that later. But I think it is absolutely hilarious that DeVille had possession of the first board that you skate, are the really the oh no, it wasn't the first, it was the seventh or eighth version of the egg.
Was it?
You said it in the interview. I didn't include it in that video I made, but when I was talking to you that first day, you said that someone had gone all the way up to 13.
Yeah,
Who was that?
me.
No, no,
No,
no.
it
11.
was. I think it was Cab.
Cab. It was Cab. And you weren't at that number yet.
Yeah, but I was up there.
You were, and you were thinking that you might have arrived at the actual board,
Yeah,
which
it.
didn't turn out to be true.
No, it was too egged.
Yeah. Um,
That's one of those things I'm excited to flush out, dude. Is it was too egged and like the curves came in so that the nose was too narrow. But the whole inspiration for the egg shape came from Axel Crusher. His real name's like Axel Kreuzenberg.
yeah.
Uh, and I ran into him at Street League in Brazil. Was it Street League? No, it was an Olympic qualifier in Brazil, street contest, and he had a slightly footballed or slightly egged popsicle stick deck that was just so fun to tray flip, and it was the first thing I've ever thought about skating other than my own board.
So that was the inspiration for the egg. I told Mowgli that the inspiration for the egg was his review of the Heron, where he damaged the rails of the board really badly, and you wanted the egg to not damage your board, which I thought was a terrible reason for changing a board.
Well, it is it that is definitely, dude, you're refreshing my memory, bro. That is definitely like a huge part of it is fixing the only flaw of,
Exactly.
of the heron shape is like you give and you get, right? When you make jagged edges, you get odd wear down patterns. But
Yeah,
the way he was skating
surfaces
it,
to bang.
yeah,
The way he was skating it was super rough. Also, he was skating the narrow one.
yeah, and he was tossing it down a double set.
Mm-hmm. It did get wrecked though. He did properly destroy that board,
Yeah,
considering it's a flight deck.
no, but that's it's so nice about the eggs opposed to straight lines when you have the slight curve is that it never hits hits a spot. It'll always kind of roll off. So it negates chips like crazy.
As we're seeing through this art of yours, the way a board wears is it's a feature of the board in some ways. Granted, chips are no fun and splinters are no fun and all of that stuff, but the flight deck's never going to break. Of course, it's still a consumable good.
Yeah. It's a luxury board for sure, dude. It's so good. It's just like it flight decks feel so good.
Okay, so the first board is not in your possession.
Yeah.
DeVille is a hilarious person for trading that precious object for whatever precious object he got in return. Um, he's a collector, obviously,
Yeah.
which makes it extra weird that he chose that trade, but still, okay, fair enough, DeVille. I hope you really have some special decks that you got in
I
trade.
feel like I feel like most collectors like to collect boards that they rode as a kid or have some sort of memory attached to that they got rid of for whatever reason and then really wish they had it back.
Yeah. I wonder what the case is with Red Powell Collector.
Yeah, that's a great question. That was the first collector that reached out to me early on.
Yeah. That guy is definitely collecting a lot more than just the boards he skated when he was a kid.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I know another collector that collects every flight deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, just like anything flight deck.
Huh. That's a lot of boards.
Yeah, man,
And it's
respect.
more every cycle.
Yeah,
I mean, he must be spending, yeah, fair
but
enough. He also
but
must have a huge place to store all these boards.
but this is an important distinction between collectors and art, right? Like, because there's art collectors as well. But there's one thing to collect a board, and it's another thing to collect, like, to you could just sit and admire a board for its art on the board, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Shape, actual like image on the board,
Yeah.
um, time period that it represents. There's so much with skateboarding and art, and then you take the whole like street culture that sort of goes along with skateboarding, tagging and graffiti, and it doesn't exactly mesh with skate culture anymore, but it was a little closer to that for a long time. Sort of b-boy culture, hip hop, punk, and graffiti.
No, yeah. Sorry, 1 second. I gotta put my phone on do not disturb. But I really see skateboarding as a really nice blend of breakdancing and graffiti.
Yeah.
That just those two. It's not either one of them,
Mhm.
but if there's a Venn diagram, there's there's something like it would be more than two circles, but
Yeah, but there's definitely a bunch of overlapping areas. Some of them are kind of big.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like even with seeing spots, like the way graffiti artists see spots,
Mhm.
like oh man, that wall, like those textures, that background color, and then you got to go attack it when nobody's there, and
Yep.
put up when you're in the middle of it. You got to put up with people walking by and potentially calling the cops.
Have you been to Sebastopol Skate Park?
Dude, I think I have,
So that's Val's home skate park
with the little tiny bowl in the back or in the
in the
front.
in the front. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So along the left side of that skate park is a sanctioned graffiti wall,
Sick,
which is
right?
basically a skate park for graffiti artists.
Right.
Is
Yes.
like, don't put your spray paint on my building. What, there's a place for you. That wall over there in the corner, you know,
Yeah.
is partly why I'm not really a skate park skater, and why, like, it's great for the street artists to be able to practice on a sanctioned wall. That's really cool,
Yeah.
but that's not how graffiti works.
It doesn't scratch the itch
No.
at all, and it kind of negates the purpose. Because my perception of graffiti is it's reclaiming the land, right? Like we have all these giant billboards and advertisements that we didn't ask for, right? So it's like, what are the locals doing,
Yeah.
And then there's other levels of graffiti where it's like literally warnings and stuff, or like, hey, you're entering this territory, and it's all written in code. So like,
Yeah.
if you can't read it, it's not a message for you.
Yep. I watched a guy put a gang tag up today on a parklet that was just recently like repainted white. New plastic was put up around it because it was devastated by graffiti.
Yeah,
And I watched the guy walk up, tuck himself behind it. I heard the spray can. I saw him walk away, and then I went and looked at it, and it's a straight up gang tag, which I wouldn't have known at all if I hadn't met a police officer who's on the whatever graffiti task force who explained what some of the graffiti meant, which I
right.
just would have had no idea. It all looks, I mean, some of it looks unreadable, but this particular stuff was pretty easy to read, and it was quite easy to see what made it a gang tag.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but I did the premiere at the barracks, right?
Yep.
And then right next door to the new barracks is Legacy Media Art Gallery, Legacy Media Studios. And their main artist there is Prime. who like grew up in gangs doing like graffiti and stuff. Like he's a graffiti artist to this day, you know? He's just and now he's all established and he's got this sick stuff and we went to Paris together and did an art show together in Paris for the Olympics, right? Which all happened so quickly.
Wait, you and Prime or you and the
Yeah.
guy? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so me and Prime shared the space. I shared the space with a number of different artists, but Prime was the only one that was physically present while my stuff was there. And we did our like discussion, our open panel talking about the similarities. But he went to the Getty Museum, you know the Getty?
Yeah.
And at the Getty they have all these like they have people hired to be able to read hieroglyphs and they have people hired to be able to read these secret messages that are in old ancient art, right? And the lady went up to Prime and was like, we have all these people that are meant to read all these secret messages, but we still can't figure out what these mean. And she's showing him gang graffiti from around her neighborhood in LA. And he's
And
like, what?
yeah, was he able to share?
Yeah, he's like, oh, this means that, and this means like, hey, this type of person isn't allowed here, and all this. And he like showed up all the Getty Museum people for deciphering what he was familiar with, and ended up the Getty ended up hiring him to make a book of like local graffiti artists, and he's like in the Getty Museum
So dope, dude.
through gang graffiti.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like it's a secret
Through an
language.
academic knowledge of gang graffiti.
Yeah. But he's
Let's
just
go,
that deep,
Prime.
dude. And it's like the most similar thing I can think of, which is the same concept but not considered art, is when they do the fire hydrants, the underground, the pipelines, and then the gas lines. The constructions workers will spray paint little different colors, numbers, arrows on the ground that are a secret language to those in the trades to be like, don't dig here, this is a gas line, or like stuff like that, you know?
100%.
And I see those as a kid, like as similar in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a secret language.
Yeah, secret language, dude.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the secret language of skateboarding? Well, I guess one part of a secret language of skateboarding is like recognizing a waxed ledge,
Yeah, yeah. Or
right?
a kick flipped shoe.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. A waxed ledge is such a great example.
Because you can just walk by, and even if you hadn't seen the ledge and thought, "Oh, I want to skate that," you'd notice the wax and then be like, "Oh, that's a skate ledge."
Yeah, sometimes the wax reveals the spot.
100%.
And dude, the opposite of that is when companies put skate stoppers on things that aren't skatable.
Totally. And leave skate stoppers off of the skatable part of it.
Yeah. I'm so glad no one's sold out to those guys yet.
Yeah. You mean
Oh
having
man.
a skater work for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh
If they
man.
did, it would be full blown sabotage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would
You
have
know,
to be.
we'd have one of those like just the right number of skate stoppers. You remember that meme?
Oh yeah.
Whereas like there's no gap between skate stoppers and is just
Yeah.
like a new ledge made out of metal. Yeah.
You know, there's rumors that skate stoppers started in Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah, and then there was a really bad rumor that Kevin Harris was the one who started it. And that has like plagued Kevin Harris's legacy for, or it did plague Kevin Harris's legacy for quite a while.
What led to that rumor, I wonder?
It was a Thrasher article where someone was like, "Oh yeah, Vancouver's cool, but Kevin put skate stoppers on everything," and like people just took it literally.
Huh. I, is is hostile architecture a thing in Vancouver?
Oh, very much so. Like sleep proof benches and stuff.
Yep.
Dude, sleep stoppers, man.
It's crazy, man. I really don't like that at all.
Dude, if I have a political stance, it's legalize sleep.
Yeah.
Legalize sleep. Sleeping outdoors.
Ironically, it is a controversial stand.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think it's illegal to take a nap on the beach, but like people do it.
Yep. I actually have a friend who's a very challenged guy, but it's a long story I'm going to make very short, got arrested in Miami for sleeping on the beach.
Yeah, damn, bro.
Yeah. 77-year-old guy.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Is a long story. This poor guy has been through a ton, and he just keeps running into it. It's like he's gravitationally attracted to extremely challenging situations where it's quite hard to not look at yourself like a victim. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not into victim mentality, but like this guy is really going through it.
Oh man, dude, that's heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, hostile architecture really rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. I think we need more public spaces where people can feel free to like relax.
Yeah, that's the difference between the Venice skate park and the Venice small park,
Yeah.
right? Venice
Yeah.
skate park is boxed in and it's people stand and watch and admire. And then less than 100 feet away, there's the small park where there's no fence around it and people are immediately frustrated with skateboarding.
100%.
It's like
Yeah.
same guys, 100 feet away.
Yep.
Like
You're
so
so
funny.
right. Yeah. And even as a skater, you sort of can't chill in the actual park,
Right.
right? It's just too packed in, too dense, you're skating or you're in the way.
Yeah, it's like trying to do graffiti on a graffiti wall that's designated for it. You got to like paint over someone else's stuff for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crowded.
Yep.
Gee, it's a tough fucking game with doing illegal things for your job or your passion even.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like such a fine line between people that are like really going over the like Banksy or like these really big graffiti artists. They'll only hit public property,
Right.
right? That's like a thing. Like don't hit private property. Like stop signs are cool and all these things are fine, but like yeah, not your like neighborhood houses.
I feel like Banksy did hit private property though and ran into property owners taking the art.
Oh, you think that's what started it?
I could be wrong about that, but I have a vague memory of some guy cutting out a Banksy on the side of his building. It was like a fence or something.
Dude, that would be the ultimate level. If you could like wall ride a wall, then people like cut it out.
Dude,
They're like,
let's go.
this ledge is wax. Like so like people that don't skate think it's just as sacred as skaters do. Like that's this huge misconception, right? That like skaters are disrespecting your property.
Well, some of them do.
Some of them absolutely do, and that's where the fine line is. But it's like Jamie Foy just shared that story of him with Pedro Delfino at the Triangle in Miami.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the guy comes up and he says, "Get off that! It's a war memorial." Like, and Pedro just yells back at him, "Yeah, I know it's a war memorial. It was built in this year by this construction guy and all this." And he's like, "Name one person that's listed on this thing, and we'll leave." And the guy like can't name it, right? And
No,
it's like who really respects the spot more? Like
yeah,
people fly across the world to skate that spot.
yep. And the question is like, is the spot more is the war memorial more valuable for the reverence that it gets from skaters with scratched up edges on the marble? Or is it a more valuable memorial kept as polished and scratchless as possible, even though far fewer people have an emotional attachment to it? I shouldn't say far fewer, right? It's just the skaters. So fewer, many fewer. That's fair. Many.
Yeah, dude. That's the real question, right?
Well, but wait, I think we haven't gotten to the first trick that you did in Crazy Wisdom. We
Yeah.
do know that you were already several versions deep into transferring from the heron, greatest board ever, to what would become the egg. Okay, so in your mind, you know you're filming a video.
Yeah.
What do you know about the video before you filmed a single trick? What do you know has to go into the video already, just based on your preparations and your planning?
Honestly, it was I just wanted to make something that could be as great as my Olympic experience. I was going through some like mental crisis of like, did I just do the most impactful, great thing I'm ever gonna do in my entire life? And now it's downhill from here because like the Olympics is pretty big, right? And I was just like, I want to make sure that it's not like my my only defining feature. I don't know. I don't know. It was a confusing time. And then on top of that, I wanted to take all the lessons that my coach had taught me through preparing for the Olympics and attach them to street spots because like with the Olympics and competition, there's a specific day and time you got to do things, which is not how my brain works at all. So it was really hard for me, but like I knew that I could take, but I knew that I could push through. I was feeling so bad that morning. You know what? I still killed it or whatever because I could push through, but then I'd be devastated the next few days because I pushed through that limit, right? And I knew that I could do that. So I wanted to take all those skills that you learn for an event, for a contest, and take it to the street for what I like consider is like real life. I don't know, but they're both real life. They're both extremely real. But one is on someone else's time and one's on your own.
Yeah, and one has a structure that was designed by someone else too,
Yeah. And like I'm
and
not the
conventions that go along with it.
and just me personally, I'm not the best when it comes to going along other people's structures.
Mhm.
But like also I freak out when I'm trying to make up my own too. So maybe I just
Just a flawed human being.
yeah.
Boo, Andy. You suck, dude. Aha.
But I loved it, dude. I loved that whole mentality. And then I wanted the tricks that I did to be tricks that there's no way I could do them in a contest. So either because the spot is never going to be available in a contest, or because the trick is so high level that it would take so many tries that like it's just not it would not be a wise move to pull out in a contest.
Right.
So like it my idea was like if I'm filming a trick that I could potentially do in a contest, it doesn't fit the video. It doesn't fit the idea at all.
I love that so much because so much of modern skateboarding, so much of it, especially, well, just so much of it is the same 9 to 14 tricks that all the best skaters are doing in every single competition. And
And yeah,
it's awesome. Like, it's
it's so
awesome.
awesome.
And those tricks are continuing to push the envelope. Like, it's not like they're the same tricks they were 5 years ago,
Oh my God, yeah.
but it's a very specific set of tricks. And like, it's already, for me, it's already a little bit boring to watch the 8 best skaters do the same 16 tricks on the same 4 obstacles for an entire competition. It's much more exciting for me to see the unique skill sets and the things that aren't part of that framework, right? Their
Yeah.
skateboarding's just so broad. It's so
It's
broad.
so broad, dude.
And
It's so broad.
the competitions make it seem less broad because they're encouraging a very specific type of skating on a
Yeah,
very specific type of obstacle.
absolutely. Absolutely. And there's nothing inherently wrong with it. In fact, it's absolutely crucial. But we don't need to fight that fight because it's been fought,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And you also don't need to do your competition run on camera for your street video.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have been sick to be able to get the rights to it so I could put it in my street video.
You don't own that run, bro.
Don't own
But
it.
you own the board that the rode in the Olympics.
And that board, I have two boards from that, the board that I rode and the backup board. The board that I rode is in my possession, and the backup board is at the Olympic Museum in Switzerland.
Dude, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So I'm glad we're fleshing this out because that was a huge part that made me realize that boards can belong in museums under
Yeah.
the right context of what happened on that board, depending on the event that it went through.
So cool. Oh, I love it.
Right? Because it accomplished
Yeah.
that by accident. So now let's see
Yeah.
if we can accomplish it on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And change the way people think about their board wear.
Yeah. And just like really, I was advised to make it about myself and not to group others in because I don't know why yet, but probably for wiser reasons I don't understand.
You're
But
talking
the
about crazy wisdom?
no, but the I'm talking about me putting value on my boards as art it's just like I feel like in the future that would be such a sick thing if skaters could go out and film a really hard trick, like work really hard for something and then land it how they want it. And when they come home, the board, the shoes, whatever, it has some monetary value for them. Like they
Yeah.
don't need to rely. Like right now, it's like people are doing like 20 to 30 really hard tricks, putting it into a video and hoping that that video helps them get some sort of money from it, you know?
Yeah.
Like through sponsorships, through reputation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like to have that would be like super sick.
Yeah.
It's a big dream, right? It's a big dream, but
It is. And it's also still limited. It's still limited to a kind of elite performance, right? I mean, like I made a street video,
yeah.
and like, and that's an extreme example, but like, let's take a person.
Now let's use you. It's perfect.
Okay, so like the prize I get for that isn't like monetary, the monetary feedback loop right, which tells you that your thing is valuable,
Yeah.
was completely outside of that project entirely.
Yeah. And if
Right.
it wasn't, it would have shaped the project so
Right.
differently.
So differently. And
Yeah.
the end goal is for someone who watches it to feel like going out and skating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
That is the prize for
Yeah.
that. And I get to keep the footage and all of it. I didn't have to pay a filmer. The filmers were amazing, by the way. Mowgli, Andrew, Oreo. Thank you guys. That was awesome. But it also, like, that project for me, it paid me in so many ways because it was my first exposure to actual street filming, and I was the skateboarder. And, like,
Yeah.
that is just a crazy scenario, like entirely different from anything I'd experienced. And even though the skills I'm exhibiting in the video are the most basic skateboarding skills, like almost all of those clips in the video were some kind of battle where,
Yeah.
we're in the street for 4, 5, 6 hours where I just keep trying the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then when I got to see the footage for the first time, the first night of filming, my mind was completely blown. Like, I had no idea that my skateboarding could look that exciting.
Right.
And that was entirely due to the artistry that was Mowgli in that particular case.
The
Um,
filming.
yeah. The filming just completely opened my eyes to the fact that, like, there's so much more to building a video, right? It is
Yeah.
not just an incredible skateboarder with great style and a cool spot and a neat trick selection. There's a
Right.
lot more going on right there,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, this idea that, like, in addition to that, the board then becomes a commodity that that the that the artist can benefit from monetarily. I mean, like, there's relatively few instances over the course of, say, any given year where it makes sense for that board to become a precious object to people other than the skater.
Right.
So it's like it is a new idea to, like, turn that into a commodity, but it's a very limited set of people that can benefit from that new concept. I think it's more interesting also as art than as commodity.
What do you mean? What do you mean by commodity?
um Thing that you trade for money.
Right. And then, yeah, would I would say the same for art though, right? Like a lot of people they don't paint with money in mind, or maybe they do even, but like it's not like there's a lot of benefits to painting. Like you don't have to, and not every painter is gonna make, you know what I mean? Like, and there's different kinds of painters. Like you want to do paintings for hotels where you sell like 50,000 copies of the same piece, but it has to like blend in with the furniture, or you trying to paint like Van Gogh and like capture reality in the most crazy ways,
Yeah.
or like there's just different aspects to it. Or do you want to do graffiti and like there's nothing there until people perceive it as something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it does definitely open up a new avenue for skaters to start thinking about what they get to walk away with when they're done pouring their heart and soul into their skating.
Part of the monetary thing for me is like my board, the Heron.
Mhm.
Like when it was designed, everyone thought it was trash. But then when it started to sell and it started selling better than all the other boards and it was making money, then the people that thought it was trash didn't think it was trash anymore. You know, and I like my perception of it didn't. really change except for the fact that like holy crap, people love it. But I loved it before, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of use that model as like for the other stuff I make is like make the best thing. Don't make the thing that you think's gonna sell the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Case in point is the little heron.
Oh my God.
So the like I have some personal experience with that because I you're talking about the board was what excited me about it, right?
Yeah.
You presented these ideas about the board that were very exciting to me, and especially at the time I was learning pop shove it, and I was like, stable tail, that's what I need. Like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'll
Stable
figure
tail.
this trick out for sure if I have a better equipment. So I ordered the two boards, but I only had small trucks, and I skated the little heron, and it was fine. It was good. I had fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh yeah, like I fully get it. This is unbelievable. It was good. It was good. And it wasn't until I stepped on the 913, which I was positive would be way too big for me, when I was like, oh my God, like this is the board. Like this is not good. This is it. This is the one. This is the one. Yeah. So for me, no board when I was a little kid was the one.
Right.
That the heron was the one. Literally
Right.
waiting for it my whole life.
Yeah, man.
So it's pretty neat because it does correct for the possible bias of, oh, Andy designed this, Andy skates this way, I love Andy's board.
Right.
Like, no, like I liked your board, it was fine, I wasn't upset by it, but
And
it wasn't the heron. It even looked sort of like the heron.
yeah, the small one wasn't my my design. It was George being like, I don't think your board's gonna sell, but maybe if we make one in a more standard size, it'll sell. And I didn't skate a board that small, so I couldn't really even test it because it was just so outside of what I skate that it just always felt weird, even if it was perfect.
But in theory, that is the one that would have taken off if it was the graphic and you that was making it sell. But
What,
it,
the small one?
yeah.
See, I don't think that. Like, I really feel like it's not like everything I touch turns to gold, you know?
No, but that's what I mean. If it was your personality and the graphic that was causing the boards to be desirable, it would have been the smaller board that sold like hotcakes.
Right, right.
But it wasn't. It was the board.
Yeah, there's something beyond all of the hype.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your ability to explain why it was designed the way it was and how one could get out of it what was put into it, that was also extremely compelling, right? If you just throw that board up on the Powell website with no explanation,
Oh man.
no way.
There's no way, dude. There's
Mm-mm.
no way. You have to explain it. And sometimes you have to explain it three, four, five times.
Yeah.
Like the nanocubics, like with like dragon wheels, like with flight decks, like people just don't like sometimes you just have to say it a bunch of times before people actually hear you.
Yeah.
And you got to accept that a lot of people aren't at the level to even understand what you're saying.
And you also have to understand that people don't get it till they're ready to get it.
That's what I'm trying to say. I was saying that terribly. Forget everything I just said. If you're not ready for the message, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just takes like the right messenger, and sometimes it just takes the right moment.
Yeah, and I have this like this pull towards being saying the right things in the wrong circumstances.
Mm.
I don't know why it always excites me. Like when music is like sounds super soft, but then the lyrics if you listen to them, are like super negative, or the opposite, like music that sounds super negative, and you listen to the lyrics and it's super positive. Like just like the juxtaposition of like, I don't know,
The one
almost.
that comes to mind when you say that is Hey Ya.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
It's a really sad song.
right, but it's in that hype.
Yeah, y'all don't want to hear me. You just want to get down.
Yeah.
You just get loose. Yeah.
Is that in the song?
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, he says it, dude.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. It's
man.
powerful. It's really, I like that too. I really do. The sort of, yeah, the juxtaposition of radically different things.
Yeah, yeah, I
And then
love
you got to
that.
figure out how it makes you feel.
Straight up. I love that about Tom Waits too.
Mhm.
Dude, I went there at Tom Waits Day 2 days ago, and then found out yesterday that it was his. Oh, wait, no, it's today's his birthday, and I had a Tom Waits Day the other day, and I was just like, wow, this brings me back. Like, you can't listen to it in certain moods. Like it has to. You have to be in this mood for it, and like if you're not there, you're not gonna like it, and if you're there, there's nothing better.
Totally.
Like being ready for the message.
Totally.
I love Tom Waits.
Me too. All right.
So
So
the
trick
trick, dude,
number one. Yes. What is the
dude.
first chronological trick?
So the not a spin front crook. Here, let me go through it.
Okay.
So,
Let me see if I can share my screen and I can watch it. Can you see my screen?
yep.
Okay. Let's see how everything works now.
It's still super jittery. Oh, there you go.
Well, let's watch it in slow mo too.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, it's really so it's great. Okay, so if that was your first trick of crazy wisdom, that was a clip where you were like, okay, I got a clip today.
Man, it felt good.
I bet it did. And you were skating with the Powell team.
Yeah, I didn't expect to have anything for that spot either. But when I went there, I was like, oh man, the top of this rail is low enough to get onto Nada spins comfortably. Like it's a little bit lower than normal. And then I drove up in my ambulance, right? I parked my ambulance around the side. I remember that so clearly. And then the rail is so well waxed, like it's so slippery. So I was just sliding all over the place. Like there's no way I could stick enough for a Nada spin. So I got some Gorilla Tape, some anti-wax,
Mm-hmm.
and threw it on the bottom of my board just to give it that
Yeah,
that
it's
stick.
spot for the rail to dig into.
Yeah, exactly.
So it almost makes sense for you to have a piece of Gorilla Tape on the middle of your board in between your rails always.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you
it
have
does.
rails. If you didn't have rails, that would be counterindicated, but you do have rails.
Yeah, so it's kind of like,
It
yeah.
should come with rails, a piece of Gorilla Tape.
Oh my God. That's so
When you
funny.
buy rails, there's also a piece of like Gorilla Tape for the middle of your board.
That'd be funny to redo rip grips, but make them like skatable. You
What's
know,
a
rip
rip?
grips?
No.
They're like soft grip tape, and you used to put them next to your rails for grabs.
Uh-huh.
So if you had like sweaty hands, you could grab them really easy. I used to
Mhm.
love those. And people would put them on their nose before they did nose slides and stuff. But like they would never withstand a nada spin, you know?
No. No,
But to
nothing foamy could.
but to do like a that's cool, you know, it's foamy. It's like it was like foam with like slight grip on top.
Mhm.
But yeah, to do the only reason I wouldn't put duct tape in the middle of my board is because it would cover up my awesome graphic.
Clear. You need clear duct tape.
Yeah, dude, what the hell?
Yeah. Or you need Court to design a graphic that omits like a 2-inch square in the middle
Yeah.
or incorporates
or
it. Okay.
or
So
I could do the Rodney thing, dude.
what's the Rodney thing?
The spray adhesive.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, spray adhesive to grip.
Yeah. It is a really good idea.
Yeah, and then you don't, yeah, then it's invisible too.
But you should also mask it because you don't want the whole bottom of the board to get sticky.
Right.
Mask a little square, spray a sticky square, and you're good to go.
But why mask it? Like you just want the whole board to get sticky. Why not? Why
Because when
wouldn't
you
you mask
grab
it?
your board, you don't want your fingers to get sticky.
Yeah, bro, for sure.
You do want them to get sticky.
Well, you don't want the fingers to get sticky, but he initially used it for grabs.
Oh, right. So that he could grab his board better. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Rubber cement would work too.
Oh man. But is
And
that
it's
opaque?
clear. Yeah, no, it's translucent.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Um, so okay, so let's go back to that day. So you've been skating with the Powell team. How many outings had you guys had before that?
I want to say it was the first one.
Okay.
Like I just got into town.
And you show up at the spot. Who's there? Who's skating?
Dude, there's a lot of people. Some people aren't on the team anymore.
Is John Bradford skating?
I can't remember that clearly.
I love the way that guy ollies, dude.
Dude, John Bradford's the best.
He's so floaty. It's so much fun to watch.
He's so good, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So you don't remember everyone who was there.
I remember, I think Cody Heil was there and Dan Corrigan was definitely there because he filmed the other angle. And yeah, I just remember, oh, Psy was there. I think Psy was there. People were
He's
just doing like flip grinds. It was like someone was trying big flip front board, someone was trying like varial heel feeble or something. Kickflip front feeble was an attempted trick. And then like when I go up to do my trick, I have to go so slow. So like my run up is in a completely different spot.
Mhm,
And like I end up just like taking over the session when I like if they're doing their thing, they kind of have a rhythm,
mhm.
right? But I'm coming in at a different speed, which disrupts the whole rhythm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you
So
also are spending more time on the rail,
yeah,
right?
like it's
Like
part of the
if
rhythm.
they go and miss, like it's just gravity's speed at which it's the next person's turn.
Right. You're used to seeing someone pop a certain amount of seconds, then you can go.
Yep.
It's not the case.
Nope.
Not at all. Dude, there's so much depth to this trick, bro.
Did you do some warm-up tricks?
Yeah, I
Like
did.
did you 50-50 it and board slide it?
Yeah, but like that's not warming you up for a nada spin.
No, but it's warming up your body.
Yeah, I warmed up my body, but I did nada spin 50-50 and nada spin 50-50 front board.
Oh, now to spin 50-50 front board's probably fun to see.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Do you have that clip?
Yeah, I got it somewhere.
You should put it in the raw footage.
Yeah, I should, hey.
Yeah. In fact, that's going to be a real treat for everybody. That's going to be a gem. And you should come up with another name for it other than Crazy Wisdom.
It'll be called We Did It because that was the original name.
That is a great name.
Yeah, We Did It was supposed to be the title.
Dude, that guy in the balcony. Let's go.
Oh man, legendary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a couple of things I want to talk about with this
Hold on. I
trick.
want to make sure we're still recording. Yeah, we're recording. It says recording. Okay.
Just gotta trust it.
Yeah, just got to trust it.
So nada spins are one of the very few stationary street tricks. So they throw street skaters off, right? Like when they did that big Red Bull Origins event recently, I got to see everyone try nada spins because they did the nada spin competition. And you see like a lot of people try to like go with speed and attack this thing, and you just end up dying, right? So you have to be prepared for jumping to stationary. And then this is not the best color for display. All right, so you got to be prepared to jump to stationary. So you got to attack it on the side a little bit so you can go up to it. Does that make sense?
100%.
And then there's a specific angle that you have to come down. Like there's 360 degrees or whatever, and you got to be on this 1 degree by the end of your 360. Like that was the hardest part for sure. And you have to have your body position over this way, like over the. So when you show up, your body position's over here, and then you're spinning, and you have to direct your body position to over here.
Yeah.
And that's like so gnarly, dude. So at first I was trying to go super slow, but then I would complete the spin and get into the front crook. My body wasn't over the
Forward
rail, so I
enough.
couldn't pick it up.
Yeah.
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 So you
Whereas when
have
you're
to have
doing
this.
50-50, you've got a little more wiggle room because you can just sort of nudge that front truck forward.
Yeah, but even with 50-50, you can't still be over this.
Yeah.
So if you do the perfect NATAS spin, it's not the perfect NATAS spin front crook.
Right.
So dude, that was so gnarly. And then just imagine the rail coming at you and you're spinning like this. When you put the truck down, it's that wheel that gets stuck, which
Yeah.
is the front crook lock,
Right.
right? So like for those who don't know, each grind happens either against this wheel, against that wheel, against that wheel, or against that wheel. And the front crook is toe side front pinch. Like you especially on a rail. Like you can get iffy on ledges and stuff, but on a rail you gotta know exactly where you're pinching. Which is why rails are scary for people who don't understand the pinch. Because for them they're literally jumping into the unknown, which I never recommend.
Yeah. Yep.
Even though it's just
Unless you got a really nice bailout,
yeah.
because
But like jumping
that's
in the
how you
unknown is
figure it out, right?
yeah, jumping into the unknown is how I learned everything, but I wouldn't continue to do it after I know stuff.
God no. Well, that's why stuff stops being terrifying.
Right. That's why stuff stops becoming being terrifying. Damn, I fully quoted you. Even
Yeah, yeah.
the
Even the
start.
Miss speech. Um. All right. So you. How many tries between when you decide, oh my gosh, I'm gonna front crook this, and front crooking it?
Dude, so many tries, and then you just get up into the front crook and it's a little off or you land a little sketchy. But like, damn, dude, it's crazy because I know if Nigel filmed it, all that raw footage would be there.
Yeah.
And that's why I love Nigel so much. One of the many reasons. But like, because it was Dan and DeVille, I don't think any of the not makes are gonna survive in their. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe.
if all the tries are still there, but dude, it took a while, bro. But it's another one of those tricks where where you're not like, okay, okay, let's go. It's this one. Like, there's none of that energy here. It's
Right.
very like,
Yeah. Slow boat.
yeah, bro, very like Heron, like
Uh-huh.
just cruising, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then you get the fish, you get that front crook, like straight up. Oh man, it felt so good to land. But I'm gonna admit this right now is like I can balance on front crooks so good, but ollieing into them is gnarly. So I felt like I wasn't gonna get a front crook down a handrail in my part unless I not a spinned into it.
Right on.
So I was like, damn, dude, I could get a front crook in my part. like that was like a huge motivator for me.
That's so dope. Well, you could get one on a ledge.
Yeah. Well, not
Oh,
not at
I
that
guess
point.
front crook is hard on a ledge because it wants you to come off of the ledge, huh?
Well, it's just a weird thing to ollie into. I've learned how to do it since then, but that was years ago.
Right.
And like obviously huge shout out and inspo from Jamie Foy for like popularizing the front crook to the point that I could understand it.
Right on. So
And
that's when you were ready to like understand the message was when you saw Jamie Foy ripping it to shreds.
well, when I saw him do it more than 3 times, really well filmed close up, and everybody's going, Dawes pinch. And like I already knew the pinch for 5-0. I knew the pinch for other tricks, Smith grind for sure, but like not front crook. And that really cemented it in my head and in the heads of many other people. That's like the difference between an inventor of a trick and a popularizer, you know?
Yeah.
And like, damn,
And
dude.
for the sake of skateboarding history, the inventor was
I don't know, but I asked someone recently and they said the first person they saw do it was Shanny. So shout out to Shanny.
word. Let's go, Shanny.
Shanny's the best, dude. Shanny was there when I did the 3 kicker line.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was doing a 9 Club interview and he was walking over with Kelly Hart and I ran into them.
That's so good.
Yeah, Shanny's the sickest, dude.
What's his full name?
I don't even know,
Okay.
but Shanny's his first name.
Word.
Chany. Swiss from Swiss, or he lives in Switzerland. I think he's Swiss.
And he's the first person that someone else saw do it.
First person that Rodney saw do it.
Oh, right on. Well, that's pretty close to the origin point.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. We're not too far from Skater Zero.
yeah.
Let's go, Shanny. um, and okay, so I'm curious about the reception of the trick live. Is it a super exciting moment for everyone that's watching and for you?
Yeah, I think it's one of those tricks where first you tic tac to the rail. So like people are like, what the hell? And then it's like a nada spin, but it's like lip slide nada spin. So you have to like over rotate to get in, which is another what the hell? And this guy's spinning up there, and then the front crook is like the least expected because it's such a clash because like front crook is such a core trick. And nobody hates nada spins. Like,
No.
it's not like it's a weird trick that you don't see very often, but it doesn't garner hate.
Right.
It's
Right.
just like,
Like
holy.
weirdly a trick like a dolphin flip seems to garner some really weird hate.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand it because I think it's such a cool trick. Similarly, I like Benihana's, but whatever.
But
Um,
I think we're yeah, yeah.
the Nada Spin doesn't have any hate associated with it. That's for sure.
Right. And just to see a nada spin on top of a handrail is like so watching it live, I think it's one of the most impactful tricks on the viewer and like some people would even argue it should be the ender. But I
No,
didn't want it to be the ender because it was the first trick I filmed.
so I fully agree with what you just said, but my question was actually about the people who were there when you did it.
Oh, I thought you were
Because I
talking.
was at the premiere and it was I want to contrast because at that moment exactly what you just said transpired. There was shock value. Nobody knew it was coming. Connecting not a spin with front crook was like a little bit of like weird trick to like solid advanced like core trick. Like it was a very nice merging of different worlds of skating, and it had a huge impact. Everyone went nuts. That was the first time everyone went nuts during the premiere.
Yeah, it's nice to have have that
But the
momentum there.
people who were watching it live watched you try. They're the shock value is gone. They've already watched you.
Yeah,
They know what you're trying.
right, right.
So I'm curious to know, like, at that point, are you feeling relief? Are you excited? I know some people would be super excited, but are people getting tired? Like, what's the vibe like among the people who are physically present when you actually land it?
I gotta say, a lot of it's painted pictures in my brain because my memory is so shot. But I know I was hyped, high-fiving everybody, like what? But like when you work that hard for something and then it happens,
Mhm.
it's just kind of cloudy brain. It's like not the best time for an interview. You're just like, whoa, that just happened. Like I gotta live in this.
Mhm.
And then you have a super dope drive home and the best night ever because you're just anything could happen and your confidence is so high.
Mhm. And you got your first clip
But
in the can.
yeah, first clip in the can and it's important that the first one's a good one. It sets the tone for the rest of the video, for the rest of the filming. But it was a high standard to live up to if that's my first clip.
Yeah.
But for the other people there, I think I'm gonna say that people were tired and kind of over it and like maybe someone didn't get their trick and I'm taking up the session trying my trick, which is why I end up skating a lot of my spots alone because I don't necessarily get amped up by other people skating it with me like some people do.
Yep.
So my demeanor is more like, okay, I gotta stay focused and do this on my own. And that's not always the most friendly demeanor. And it's like, and I'm not skating at the same rhythm as the other guys.
Right.
So there's just a natural clash there. Even if they're like stoked on the trick, it's kind of like they have to sacrifice trying their trick for me to try mine. And some of the spots like the squiggly rail, it's like nobody else is trying to get a trick there.
Right.
So when there's a crew, it's literally just them watching or not watching.
Yeah, which isn't unusual, right? I mean, there's lots and lots of instances. I can think of half a dozen or more, like, are jumping into my brain where the whole crew is pretty much camped out. One person skating. They've been skating for a long time. Maybe even the destination itself, no one even tried to skate except for the one person that's getting the clip there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of that clip of David Reyes getting blunt slide at Clipper.
Yeah,
Are you talking? You know the one I'm talking about?
I think so. The one that he's like did the My War on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his entire crew. They're all on their butts. He's the one who's battling.
Yeah.
Just him.
Yeah, I don't know if that would make it easier or harder for me.
Having everybody there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess more trips with the team will reveal that at some point.
Yeah. I normally just get the feeling that I'm in the way or taking time away from someone else.
Yeah.
But like when it's strangers that don't skate and they choose to stop to participate in watching, there's like less pressure there.
For sure.
And I enjoy that a lot
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're like totally supportive. And if they leave, they left. There's no thing on either side as long as they're not trying to like get in the way or talk to me or
Yeah.
like I often describe to people like when you're doing a trick like this, it's literally like you're meant to be alone to the same degree that like people have cubicles so that there's not a bunch of people around when you're doing your work at work. Like they've designed the whole workspace around that solitude and then skaters just don't have that luxury.
Also, I mean, there is something to be said for the infusion of energy that comes from the public from the place that you're in, right?
Yeah.
You're not in a private space, you're in a public space. You're doing something very specific there, and the place itself can throw a lot of energy at you.
Hmm.
It would just go to your ender.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Also, the Rodney on the table trick,
Yeah.
and also, yeah. There's just lots and lots of situations where people are contributing their energy in much the same way as the spot physically is contributing its energy in the way
Yeah.
that it's constructed and the purpose that it had that is separate from the one you're applying to it.
It does feel like a group prayer of sorts.
Yeah.
Like a prayer is the wrong word, but like a group wanting for a specific outcome.
Yeah.
And that really is so powerful and effective. And it works the other way too.
Yeah.
And it manifests the other way as like people standing in front of the spot,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Like they really don't want you to land a trick. They
Yep.
just don't even want you.
Yeah. They don't want you to be in their place, in their
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
And that's like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's people that feed on both kinds of energy. Like, I think there's a very combative personality type that revels in the friction.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want me here, and I'm going to actually step on you, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And like, yeah, sometimes I'll pretend the cops are coming and it'll help me land the trick.
100%.
The sense of urgency.
Yeah,
Like the cops will drive by and I'll use that as motivation, you know?
totally.
And then other times it totally bites you in the ass, like in the Fresno rail.
The
Like,
Fresno rail was the 32 stair.
yeah, so there was a threat of getting kicked out before the trick even started. So I was running up the stairs for every attempt. And then I got so exhausted. And we ended up
It's a
spending
long
hours
set.
there.
It's a long
Yeah.
set, dude.
But if I knew we had hours, I would have walked up and probably landed it way sooner.
Right.
But security did call the cops, and the cops did come, but they chose not to do anything. But not a spin
Well,
front crook.
yeah,
That spot, there's no kick out, as far as I was concerned. And what makes that such a good skatable spot is there's no houses right next to it, so you can be loud and noisy. Plus, there's a playground right next to it, which helps you be loud and noisy as well, and playful. Like it's got like kind of looks like it belongs a little bit more. And then there's the super busy road right there, Normandy Avenue, which is also chaotic and hectic and loud. So it's the perfect place for a skater to blend in with their chaotic and hectic and loud attributes.
yeah, yeah.
And
Which
skate
can be quite disruptive in the wrong environment.
right, and skateboarding might just be in the same way that it's breakdancing and graffiti. It might just be kids at a playground and a busy street. Like
Yeah.
it's like kind of like cars,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like kids playing. Like it's just maybe those belong on the Venn diagram.
Yeah. We gotta have a like a coffee table book of Venn diagrams.
Oh man,
Mhm.
the Venn
I saw
diagram.
one the other day that really blew me away. Oh, it was about rotary engines. Not important. It was a funny Venn diagram. I'll share. So we have some amount of time left. Are there any things about that trick, that day, that board? Oh, we haven't really talked about the board very much.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Just that it's like maybe the seventh iteration of the heron on the journey, dude. On the journey to the heron.
Did it already have a crook groove in it, a front crook like
No,
wear pattern?
there's no crook groove. It was this circular, smooth rail. It was going to leave no marks.
No, that's what I mean. Did you already have a mark from concrete on the
No,
trucks?
I don't. I didn't do front crooks at all. I could
Okay.
just stand in them.
Okay.
Like if I was 50-50ing a rail, I could pick it up into front crook.
Mhm.
But ollieing in is a whole different beast until recently. Because I learned the ghost pulling you by the belt loop trick.
Ghost pulling you by the belt loop. So you let your belt loop lead the way.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like your head's slightly back and your feet are slightly back.
Yeah. And I learned to reposition my feet so that my knees are properly aligned. Like my whole life, my back knee's been proper. My front knee's been kind of straight or in, which made it impossible to stand on a front crook properly. But since I had that little knee altercation, I adjusted my front knee to be more like my back knee, which is how it should be, and it opened up the stability for that.
Okay, so here's a good question for you to answer to the people who don't have a physical experience of doing front crook.
Okay.
Or okay, so I can imagine, I've never done a nose grind either,
Okay.
but I can imagine the commitment to getting into a nose grind. Like it makes sense to my brain, right? I know how a nose manual works. I know
Yeah.
how 50-50 works. I know how you can you have to sort of push a grind forward. So, like, I have some concept of like loading my weight up on top of, but behind that front truck. Does,
Yeah.
does that
But
make sense? Because you can't be in front of the front truck or you'll fall forward.
yeah.
You're not exactly on top dead center because there's friction under the truck also that you have to overcome.
Right.
So you're like just on the backside of the front truck. But when you go into crook, like what are some of the other things that are going on that make it a more complicated experience?
So to hold this position, this leg needs to be more bent,
Okay.
right? So if this leg is any straighter than it needs to be, you're gonna slip out. So this leg needs to be well trained in where it holds it.
Is
So
that true for both front crook and nose grind?
yeah, it's true for all of those.
Okay. So like go into the place where front crook is different from nose grind.
So nose grind is this, and front crook is that. And the difference is the anatomy of your foot. Front crook is here, and back crook is no, they're both right here, but it's tricky to say. It's tricky to describe. I could do it better if I was like walking around and someone was following me and I was jumping on things.
Yeah. All right.
But the big difference is that front crook you're going like this, but nose grind you're going like this.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's it
So
right
the
there.
so the front crook is like it's so much gnarlier going backwards. It's like blind, but you can.
It's almost like nose blunt.
It's like a shoulder check, like in a car for someone who doesn't skate. It's like backing up in the car
Mhm.
opposed to driving forward.
Yep.
Back crook is driving forward, front crook is in reverse. And you got to be like, it just takes extra skill.
Difference between board slide and front board.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's insane. So there's a number of tricks that I see skaters can sometimes be overly impressed by them. Whereas like my eyes are like, yeah, okay, but like why is that so much better than, the other one that looked way better? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I know a lot of it has to do with like the kind of deadly commitment that you're making when you
And that's
mount
it.
it that way.
And that's it, is when you're committed to this and it messes up
Yeah.
versus being committed to this and it messes up.
Yeah.
This is this is come on, you just
Yeah. Is
like
bad.
this is what are you gonna do? Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so scary, dude. It's so scary. The
Skateboarding
commitment
is,
has to be full.
yeah. Yeah. Skateboarding is just the stuff, man. Like challenging that thing in you that is terrified, but knows with absolute certainty that the path towards rolling away is achievable. You're definitely like, your body does not want to comply, it's too scared.
There we go, bro.
All right, we're back. A little technical challenge, but we're back. One
Couple
day.
days later. Oh, one
Yeah.
day.
Is it 2 days?
I don't know. I'm not good with time perception, Rick.
Yeah, fair enough. We're back some short time later.
How are you?
I am great. I'm oh, I'm on camera. This is terrible. Let's start again. Yeah, I almost feel like putting my clothes on from 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago.
Okay.
All right. Hey Andy.
What up, Rick? How you doing?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. Sorry for the Zoom fail at the end of our last recording.
That's the point of episode one, bro. Working out the kinks. Working out the kinks.
100%. Do you remember where we ended the conversation?
Yeah, we were talking about front crooks, and I was explaining the same thing over and over and over again. That it's scary to go backwards than forwards, which is pretty understandable. And you were talking about how some skaters are impressed by tricks that you're not impressed by,
Hmm.
and vice versa. And I've had some thoughts on that, and I really think that, like, for example, when I was sorry, I should start with the statement and then give the example.
Okay.
I think that people can are impressed by the tricks that they can do or relate to, or things that are a step above of their skill level.
Mhm.
But sometimes if it's 10 steps above, it doesn't transfer as impressive.
That's exactly. I agree 100%. Yeah, if
Yeah,
you can relate to it enough to understand why it's scary, then it's impressive.
yeah, absolutely. That's like backtail is the best example of that. Skaters love backtails, but a non-skater sees someone standing on their board on a ledge and they think that should be the easiest trick.
Hmm.
And it's just like because they don't have that relationship. And for me, I face that. All freestylers face that when, like, for me with the table clip, I did that pogo trick with the carousel up to double truck down to rail stand, like all that. A lot of skaters can't relate to the difficulty, therefore it kind of doesn't even register as it doesn't even register.
Yeah. Yeah. And in your video, pinning the freestyle trick in between two obviously very difficult tricks that skaters can relate to at least frames it so they can assume that if they understood it, they'd recognize that it's very difficult.
Yeah, if it was in the beginning montage.
No way.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of people clicking off that video right away.
right.
Yeah.
Strategy.
In tennis, there's something very similar where non people who aren't advanced players are wowed by very different things than advanced players. So
I
on the
could see that.
highlight reel from a Roger Federer match, everybody oohs and ahs over the shot he hit between his legs from behind the baseline that passed the net player. And like, it's fun to watch. It's like a trick shot, but every reasonably good tennis player can hit that shot comfortably. Whereas he did 30 subtle things that no one else in the world can do except him. And none of them made the highlight reel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Highlight reel.
Yeah. And all the best tennis players, minds are blown every time he does one of those 30 things, but it never makes the highlight reel because the most people can't relate.
That's one of the things that makes you so valuable to these conversations is your expertise in sport outside of skate. And tennis, especially combative one-on-one sport, that mentality, it's so different from skateboarding.
So different. And in fact, like my immersion in skateboarding very much colored my ideas about how zero sum games like tennis work and how kind of I used to think that it was a great metaphor for life. The zero sum game, the I win, you lose, and I do everything I can to create advantage for myself at your expense. And it's a terrible metaphor for life. It's why we're destroying each other and ready to blow each other up and take each other's resources. And skateboarding is the sort of answer to all of that in a lot of ways. It's about expression and celebrating the intent to express, right? Because you get celebrated when you fail miserably in skateboarding. If I am determined to jump down my first six dare and we go to the set together, maybe there's a bunch of us and everybody's skating the set and you're doing some big trick down the set and so is everybody else. And I'm jumping without my board 30 times before I finally pop. And then I fall, sprain my ankle. I'm done for the day. Guaranteed everybody goes apeshit for me. There's no doubt about it. Everyone's going to be so proud of me that I sprained my ankle.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to be like, oh, dude, I told you you shouldn't jump that set. Like, I told you you need to put your foot here, blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody's that guy. I can
yeah.
do that easily. Watch. Like, nobody's that guy. Every skater is like, bro, do you need to go to the hospital? Are you good? You know?
Eh, yeah, and it's not like they're celebrating because you sprained your ankle. They're celebrating the push, the that that push that you pushed your limits.
And your intent to express. Like you had an expression you wanted to get out and you did everything you could to get that expression out. And even if it's an expression that I don't really care about, I'm pumped for you. And when you get that expression out, again, even if I don't particularly like that expression, I'm going to be uncontrollably excited for you. And for me, that's the beauty of it. It isn't even for you. You land some trick that I don't care about. You bail on it 30 times and then you land it and I can't help myself. I'm over the moon.
I love skateboarding so much.
Me too, dude. It's just really an antidote to so much of what's wrong with of so much of what makes life really isolating and painful. It is the antidote to a lot of that. It brings you into presence. It brings you into community. It causes you to feel positive emotions for the people around you and be able to sit with negative emotions without judging them or needing to change them, right? Like skaters watching their buddies lose their mind and throw their board around like a lunatic and swear at the top of their lungs,
In the
right?
street.
In the street. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
in a public space with like
yeah.
regular people around.
Nobody's running over and being like, dude, don't, not right now. Quiet down. Like, let the, like, this is how he feels, bro. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And if you want to pack up and leave, you can. But if you want to keep trying after you calm down, the camera's still rolling, bro.
Dude, I remember a session at Tongva Park. I think I biked up. No, I was riding a cruiser board, just chilling, and they were filming a shot. Skate the two wooden benches with the rocks in between.
Mhm.
And at the time, I was like, "What the hell are you doing? Skate these two wooden benches and that rock, dude. The spots are over there on the rough ground, right?" I
Mm.
like that session really opened up my eyes to that was the spot. But Ishad was like not feeling it that day, and like everybody's like, "Yep, he's not feeling it." It's not like they lose faith in him.
Right.
Like it's fucking a shot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was getting angry, and then at one point he like got in his car and left, and it was like everyone's like, "Yep, time to pack it up."
Yep.
There was no resentment. There was no nothing. It was just like full understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is about embracing all of the human emotions. They're all equally powerful and equally absurd, right? It is crazy for me to get so angry that I just can't seem to make myself do this thing that I really want to do so bad. Like, that's insane that it can make me feel that rageful and desperate. And it's similarly insane that rolling away can make me feel like I just won the lottery.
Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah, but
absolutely.
but it's human and it's beautiful.
It sure is, man.
Okay, so we've been through the first trick to some extent. We talked about it. We talked about the circumstances around the first trick in Crazy Wisdom. Were there any things about, because that was the first trick, did that sort of like you said, it's sort of a high bar that you set for yourself if that's the quality of the first clip, because
Yeah.
you want to kind of continually outdo yourself to some extent, or at least keep things feeling like they're at the edge of your ability, because you don't want to put a street video out with tricks that are not at the edges somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did that trick sort of affect the next time period before you get your next clip?
I think I think a lot of the I think after that a lot of the tricks were very premeditated. And that was before Robbie let me move in, right? So when I moved to Venice and I actually had a space, this studio that I was sharing with Robbie, it's a tiny space, but like we had it, and I made it to Venice. And then I could lock in on all the spots that were around my house because I'm not a big fan of driving, right?
Mhm.
So then that allowed me to like I kind of bunkered down in Venice for the next few years to get the tricks that I knew I needed to get, and every day it was haunting, like passing that spot, like, oh, I still need to hit that spot. And then pass another spot, like, oh, I need to hit that. Like, I wonder what tragedy is gonna happen on that spot. Like, and like, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, and clips age too. Like they don't always stay fresh. If
especially if
you
someone else does the trick.
Oh yeah, that can just kill it.
Yeah.
But even if nobody does the trick, like if you hold onto a clip for long enough, it stops feeling like something you want to use to represent where you're at now.
Yeah, that like the counter argument is Tom Penny's part in Minicmati when
Okay,
a lot of his best footage is from when he's a kid.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just it like aged like fine wine. Like it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's been at that level. And like Tom Penny reached that thing where it's like nobody expected him to be that good, and nobody expected him to take it any further. Like it looked like the way he was doing everything was so efficient that it wasn't like, okay, next time go back and do it 3 feet taller. No, it was perfect. It was perfect, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's extremely rare.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And it's
There's
not my case. You know, like in my stuff, I look at the early clips I got and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I was wearing that. And then you think about like I used to wear things that meant something, so
yeah.
they would tell a story to me, you know, like the circle glasses that I wear. I used to wear like the yellow ones and the pink ones,
Mhm,
and it wasn't to look good, it was to see good.
mhm.
Like life looks great through yellow lenses. Life looks great through rose colored lenses, right? And you sacrifice some sort of the onlooker. But
Or you don't sacrifice it, you just broadcast something to them by wearing it. And it's something they're gonna receive however they receive.
but if you do clips in all black, dude, it's gonna go further.
You mean age better.
Yeah, it's gonna age better.
Fair enough. Although, like when I look at my older
And it's gonna go
clips,
further. It's gonna go further. Like you're gonna get more attention just because people aren't like when they look at it.
I don't know. I feel like some people would never wear all black and would look absurd wearing all black.
Yeah, you're right. I think yeah, it's
You know, can
there's a balance. Maybe I'm just being hard on myself.
yeah, like I think you're judging your style sense from different periods of your life. And like if I had a I had a mullet in high school, like that's real. That happened. You know, like thank God there were no iPhones back then, and there's really just like a picture from my yearbook, you know, but it still happened. And like if that was living on the internet forever, would that make and on the clothes that I wore, like all that stuff was like of a very specific time in my development as a creature. It is not totally in keeping with the version of me that exists today, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's always true. Like I think we're always perpetually changing. And like some people have a style, like I've been wearing the same clothes for many, many, many years until I quit my job and stopped wearing tennis clothes every day. And then I've been wearing those clothes every day since then. You know, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
it's just like some people just get comfortable in what they're comfortable in and
And
skate the way they skate. You know what I mean?
I gotta add this on to defend myself is like now I'm at the point where I'm designing the stuff that I'm wearing more so. Well, before I would get to pick from what has been designed from my sponsors.
yeah.
So it's like,
That's just going to mean that in 10 years, when you look back, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I designed that.
yeah, maybe,
Like, you know,
but like the yellow shoes, right? Like the
yeah,
yellow shoes, like that wasn't like those were the only lace cover shoes.
right.
So it's like those are the ones I'm gonna wear.
Yep.
Now I got my black ones and the white ones, you know, white and gray or whatever. But like
Dude, your next skate video is going to be called like the black video. And you're
just
just going
all
to
black and
wear
white.
all black.
Oh
It's
man.
going to be entirely timeless.
Anyways, the front crook. Let's talk about the metal sign at the bottom.
Okay, yeah. So um in my head came up with several sarcastic things to say about that sign. So tell me about it.
I didn't want it there.
I didn't want it there either.
I knew I didn't need it there, but it was a session and some of the guys needed it there for the tricks they're doing. Like if you're coming off a board slide, you might, or a lip slide or something, you might land there. But for a front crook, there's no, like the way that the front crook pops off, there's no way I would have fallen in that little piece of grass. But like, it's there.
It's there.
And
It's also just lying there, which is good. It's
I
not
think
like,
I think it was taped.
was it really?
I think so.
It looks loose in the video, or it looks like it could be loose.
I can't really remember, but I vaguely remember it being taped.
Right on. Yeah, that's a session. That's what you do. And also it's completely a convention to fix the spot.
Yeah.
And a street purist who's been street skating for all of 3 years now, I, I don't I don't want any fixed spots in my street video. I want everything pure. I don't even wax stuff, dude. It's just play it as it
Are
lays.
are you serious?
I am, to a
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
extent. I mean, like that is my mentality, and I
Right, right.
won't fix a spot or have any skate park footage of any kind in my part. DIY is different. Um, yeah, but like there's certainly not going to be a plank of wood, or I'm not going to bondo anything or unknob something or grind a ledge. Now I might grind a ledge and wax it to make it skatable for myself, but I'm not going to put that in a video part.
What about something that's already waxed?
Yeah, that's fair game.
Okay.
Absolutely, that's
Yeah,
100% fair game.
yeah.
And if somebody bondoed a spot too, like, yep, that's fair. But if the spot isn't bondoed and I'm determined to do a trick there, then I picked the spot. It's not ideal. Like, work with it.
I feel it, bro.
Yeah. But I don't judge. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care. I enjoy.
You
Oh,
take notes, but you don't judge.
yeah, like a good example. Very recently, there was that ollie over the two low roofs. Do you know what I'm talking about? He pushes in really fast. He skates up a roof, but had to put a plank of wood between the roof and
Yeah.
the ground.
Oh,
And
wait, no.
it was a roof gap, ground height roof gap, where a scooter kid did a backflip. And
Oh,
that's,
yeah, 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 yeah.
do you know
Brandon
the spot?
Westgate. Brandon
Brandon
Westgate.
Westgate. Exactly right. And
What's
he,
that scooter kid's name again?
I don't know. We
I
should,
can't
but it's so sad that I don't know. Although I didn't know
I can't
Brandon
remember right
Westgate
now.
didn't come to my mind either. But
Yeah,
in
there you
that
go.
trick, the scooter guy got
Scooter
himself
guy.
up on that roof without any help. He popped himself up onto the roof. Brandon Westgate had a plank of wood there that he rolled up onto the roof on. And like the ollie over that roof gap was awesome. And you know how big a fan I am of just a straight pure ollie. Like it is
Yeah.
my favorite thing to see. So like the clip was couldn't have been more enjoyable for me to consume, but my brain still saw that piece of wood and was like, oh, it'd been nice if you could have ollied up there. Going 30 miles an hour and like trying not to die by falling into the next roof.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
note taking, but not judging.
exactly.
I'm glad they showed the scooter guy
Me
clip.
too.
I'm glad they gave him the credit, but I'm not glad they didn't name him.
Yeah. Yeah, we should figure out his name. And oh, you know what? We will. We'll figure out
Get
his name
get
and we'll put it on
get
top of this.
Gifted Hater figured out his name.
He did?
Yeah, and like
Oh
posted
yeah.
about it.
I love Gifted Hater, dude. I know he's got some questionable attitudes towards people that cause him to get judged harshly by some people. But I think he's funny, and I think his heart is generally in the right place, and I think he's smart, and I like his takes on a lot of things.
I think I'm biased because he enjoyed my video part,
100%.
but I think that like he definitely does say some stuff that he doesn't necessarily stand by, and then people take it literally.
Yeah.
Like he'll say something kind of thoughtlessly and move on to the next thing, and sometimes admittedly.
Hmm.
And I feel like the reaction to him is worse than him himself.
100%. In fact, in a sense, it's one of my concerns about doing this with you is like I say a lot of stupid things, like you and I have conversations, and sometimes I'll make a statement and then we'll flesh out the statement. And like the statement itself was like entirely wrong. It was
Yeah.
just the words that came into my head that got us to the right idea, which came 6 or 7 minutes later. You know what I mean? And
And a
like,
lot
if
of
you
the
just
time,
judge me by that statement, like it was a stupid statement, like it just had to come out of my mouth so we could get somewhere better.
yeah, and a lot of the time when you say statements like that, when I say statements like that, I can feel it in my body that it wasn't the right thing.
Hmm?
It's the finger pointing at the moon.
The finger pointing at the moon.
Yeah, like you get look at that, right? And then don't focus on the finger, look at what the finger's pointing at.
Ah,
Like the finger's like the yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just a, yeah, it's just something to help you move off in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think when you live a public experience, when you're live streaming like Ricky Glaza, like 7 days a week, you're live streaming, or Gifted Hater, I think does the same thing. I know I've seen him on Twitch.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I think when you're doing that, you're just sort of perpetually in a situation where somebody's hearing your thoughts come out live. And in like a cancel culture world, it's really easy to just get something pulled out of context and have people thinking you're a very different kind of person than you are, or at least believe that you feel differently about things than you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we try to flush out that statement that we were talking about earlier? Before we started this episode, we were talking about putting a disclaimer. Oh wait, we're gonna do it in text.
Yeah. We can do it in text.
Perfect. So I think we should just wrap this up, man.
Let's do it. All right, Andy. Episode 1 has been a joy, a challenge, and a joy. And I hope viewers out there, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I very much look forward to making each of these um, standalone. Uh, no, I hate the way this sounds, Andy. I'm so uncomfortable.
Dude,
Uh,
conclusions are hard, dude.
yeah,
Saying
but
goodbye is like
it,
my
it
hardest task.
it's like talking. It's talking into a video that's hard. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel real. It's like I'm signing off to imaginary viewers that are real. You know what I'm imagining them, but they're fucking real. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
let's try it again. Let's try it.
It's like being on stage when the lights are in your eyes
Yeah.
and you can't see the audience
Yeah.
and you look out and that person's like, they looked right at me.
Yeah.
But really all you're seeing is like stars.
All right. Let me try my version of a sign off again.
Okay, let's do it. I'm excited for it.
Okay. This has been a lot of fun for me. I love talking to you. I am honored to be a foil for you talking about something that's really important to you, like crazy wisdom. So, thank you for inviting me to do this with you. It's been a joy to do so far, and I look forward to doing it more.
Thank you, Rick. This is an absolute joy to use your own words. And I seriously couldn't think of anybody else that I could do this with. It's you match my pace of speech.
Let's go.
I like
Awesome.
I fucking love you, dude.
I love you too.
I I have all the good things to say, they're not coming to mind. But I just I love you so much, Rick. And yeah, see you later, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I think something in there's for sure usable. For sure.
It's still recording on my side.
Stop recording. Stop.